All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about Phil Baroni now. I've, obviously, for those of you that don't know, Phil was arrested for murdering his girlfriend in Mexico, I believe on the 2nd of January. And Phil's a guy that I've hung out with a few times. I hung out with him, first time was, I believe it was 2003 in Tokyo. Actually, it might have been before that. It was in Hawaii when he was fighting for TJ Thompson, but the other time that I remember was 2003 in Tokyo because we had met up with Ensign Inouye, and Phil was staying with him at the time. And Ensign had some business to conduct. And I remember Ensign had kind of like an assistant, this kid named Arashi, who would do all of these little odd jobs for Ensign, drive him around and stuff. And he took us to an internet cafe in Tokyo, and he pulled out a big wad of money, I remember, and he said, "Do you guys want to use the internet?" So it was me, Arashi, Phil, and a friend of mine that had been staying with me on vacation. So yeah, I remember that like it was yesterday. So being around Phil, you can kind of tell he's the kind of guy who could, maybe go off at any time. He's kind of got that attitude or edge to him, ego to him, and so to, kind of hear this stuff, it's not necessarily a surprise for someone the way he was going, and you could see he was kind of having a hard time of it after leaving MMA. He hadn't maybe necessarily replaced it with anything. He was just kind of still living by the day, or living by the moment, and still, trying to be the New York badass to some extent. So, that's a lesson for some fighters. Um, you got to set yourself up for life after fighting, because it can be really difficult. Just like guys that leave the military, it's hard for them to find their footing. I think fighters are a lot similar in that way. And, Phil was one of these guys. So to hear that he ended up in this situation again, it's not surprising, but it's really unfortunate. And, I guess the details were that his girlfriend admitted to having an affair or whatever, and Phil basically beat her to death in some capacity. I mean, it said, he had said he had thrown her in the shower and she hit her head, but we don't know all the details yet. But he had been staying in a hotel down in Mexico when this happened, and that's kind of how all this was discovered when he was staying there with this lady. So we'll see what more comes of it.